Good morning.
Morning, Gumper.
How's it going?
Good. Well, it looks like everything keeps getting pushed back. I just saw NAB. I got the letter and then I saw you posted it.
Yeah, NAB pushed back, and the NFR rodeo in Vegas is moved to Texas.
Oh, shit.
Yep. So no December here.
Hi,
Yeah, I
Andrew.
mean-
Hi, Patrick.
Hey, how's it going?
We had an event for Encore in the new, the new expanded
The
ballrooms.
Caesars. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
the Vegas Convention Center or the Caesars one?
the Encore.
Oh, the Encore one. Yeah.
Yeah, the brand new one. And the client was insisting on doing the event. And for 900 people, we needed the entire ballroom of 87,000 square feet to be socially distanced.
Yep.
He totally approved it. And then I think the day after he approved it, Encore laid or furloughed everybody. And then they're waiting back from the governor, and they've said absolutely not this
Yeah, the
year.
governor basically is still living by his 50-person rule out here. So,
Yeah, because he's following our governor in California because they're little buddies.
yep.
So that's awesome. But yeah, so crushed by all of the gigs for Vegas this year for us.
Yeah, Vegas is definitely not the entertainment capital of the world anymore.
Nope, neither is LA. And then we're doing all the permitting and special requests for like 4 different fitness companies in LA. The dumbest thing ever, but it's like got our whole office back up and running again. Like
There you
that's all we're doing is permitting.
Yep.
What's up, Patrick?
Dave, how you doing?
How are you, man?
Finally caught up on sleep.
That's a good thing.
Briefly.
Yeah. I hear so you got something going on right now, work-wise, it sounds like?
Yeah, I mean, we've got actually, I've got 2 drone film shoots for Live Nation, and then I've got a bunch of permitting stuff we're doing. So it's
Awesome.
I call it fake work, but I'll take it. It started with Restart with Red Light, and which was great because we all liked the rehearsal, and we all felt like we were working again. So I think maybe that was the little kick that everybody needed. I know I needed it. It was, I mean, just to be on site and touching cases and, seeing the rubber cable, it was amazing. But
Absolutely. I can't remember the last time I've seen that many Freedom Pars.
yeah, no kidding. Who did the weekends design for VMAs?
That I'm not sure.
John.
That looked awesome.
Pretty sure it was Tom Sutherland.
It was who?
Tom Sutherland.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
I know he was doing the VMAs, and I don't know if the weekend had his team with him.
The stuff they did on the rooftop was, that rooftop was amazing.
Which roof did they use?
The footage of the helicopter that was shooting it was the real.
The double helicopter thing was awesome.
I posted that on my LinkedIn, the behind the scenes of them rehearsing.
Yeah, apparently it was psychotic.
Yeah.
Jason Berry, who's usually on here, was there, I think.
Oh, wow.
I thought somebody streamed during the load-in a few weeks back.
That was Herrick, right?
Think so. I mean, it looked pretty wild.
Oh, was Herrick on that rooftop?
He was,
Yeah, that was the
Herrick
one he
was
was
pushing
doing.
cases on that, I think.
Yeah, I think.
Are we talking about the VMAs?
I think
Oh, okay.
He said he was a couple floors down working on a different event.
Oh, so it wasn't that he wasn't doing that.
Yeah, I think it was for the VMAs, but I think he was on a separate.
Oh, gotcha.
It really looked cool, though. I mean, and you're right. The helicopter stole the show. I mean, the weekend was great, but the helicopter, that pilot, fuck, he should have gotten an award for VMAs.
The fireworks display at the end was pretty damn good too.
Yeah.
I find it great that you can't have fireworks for 4th of July, but God forbid the VMAs come into New York. Fuck, light it up, baby.
I was more upset because I spent the week and a half leading up to it having to work on a show via computer because the state of New York wasn't allowing anybody to not bypass the 2 weeks of quarantine, even with a special permit from the county. And then the day before the VMAs, I went, "Oh yeah, don't worry about the quarantine for anybody working on the VMAs."
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Yes,
they just
I-
gave up.
Governor Cuomo bypassed his own rule about the 2-week mandatory and
That's
blocking
amazing.
it, setting up checkpoints and all that
Yeah.
bullshit. Yeah. Like, wait a minute, I'm
Viacom
sitting in
has
California,
tremendous
fucking
marketing.
working on a show on ABC in Manhattan, and I'm having to do this, and yeah, it was all stupid. But at least they got a dispensation.
Wow.
Amazing. How is everyone?
Hi
Good.
from
I'm
rainy Orlando.
How are you?
We're good. Hello, Marcel.
Hey, man.
My team.
Steve, you sound beaten up today.
I know, man. I don't know what's wrong with me. I went an early start. They're like 6 a.m. start. So you're going to have to bear with me.
Oh, geez.
Oh.
I just got off a meeting where I confirmed that I had a 4 a.m. start today. So
Ah.
I don't cry for you, my friend.
You know what scares me is Patrick smiling, so I'm very concerned about this.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Patrick's
good.
on some weird vacation. There's like a fishing village behind him or something. That's why he's using a background.
Yeah, I'm in the Mexican Riviera.
There you go.
He actually would prefer to just live in the ocean at this point.
I mean,
Wouldn't we
I
all?
don't, I think you'd be hard pressed to find people that wouldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point, that's true.
A nice little house in the ocean would be just fine for me right now.
No, I'm smiling
In the
because
ocean, not on the ocean.
I'm smiling because I'm getting a chance to read Michael's email with the update.
It's, oh my God, it's ridiculous. Can we just stop with the posturing and just make it happen? That'd
No,
be
it's
great.
part of the process. Sit down.
I don't actually know if Michael's going to be here today or not. I never confirmed nor denied with him, so I'm just not sure.
You know, so last night I was on a little Zoom call with Lynn and Corey, and Lynn blew my mind because we were talking about vinyl and how cool her record collection looks behind her. And then she
Oh, is that
walked
real?
right-
I thought that was a background.
I didn't know this until she walked through it last night, and I was like, Lynn, you've been lying to me.
But
Come on,
it is
man.
my background. It's right across that wall right there.
Okay, it's fair enough. Fair enough.
If I can do this and get rid of my background, you'll see.
It's all
So,
Matt loves to bust my chops.
good. Oh,
I don't know
How
how
I love
many.
you.
How many pieces of vinyl is it?
That's a good question because I moved here almost 4 years ago and I got rid of about 1,000, gave them to my son. They were just stuff that honestly, there are a lot of promo records and stuff that I just didn't care about. All the records that I have now, I care deeply about. So
Cool.
I say there's about probably with 45s and stuff, 3,500 maybe.
You have 3,500 records?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Maybe
Well, you have me beat. I only have about
3,200.
20. I only have about 2,500.
I still have all my records, but I think I'm only like 1,500. They're in the next room, and
Jesus.
I keep getting warned, like, oh, you know, when those things, if there's a house fire, it's going to kill everybody.
I'd be
I think I have one like Iron Maiden picture disc or something packed away somewhere. I think that's the
still-
only album I have still.
I still have fucking 3 K-Tel records from 1977.
Oh my God. Goofy Greats?
Neil Sedaka, bitches.
Oh, not Goofy Greats? I loved Goofy Greats. That was
I'd
my
have to go
favorite.
through and look at all of them, but I still have them. They're K-Tel super hits of the, you know, it's like a double, you know, fold the thing open. And by the way, I don't know why the fuck it says Rubberneck.
Because that's your name.
A lot of you guys may not recognize me because I don't have hair anymore.
His fucking Rubberneck is his name.
And you haven't been in the lighting business for a little while. You're like a t-shirt guy now or something.
Oh,
That T-shirt thing was that was just a little hobby I had.
Okay,
Plus,
so your screen name is Rubberneck.
Cat
Your
shelter.
email is t-shirt guy, but you're not either of them.
I stuck with that domain name because I thought it's funny.
There you go. It's a good one.
But I did go shoot a photo shoot of Sammy Hagar last year, so I'm kind of in the industry. I don't know. Plus,
Thanks for getting that PSA for us, Hunter.
You've worked once in the last year, so you're
Yeah.
in the industry just like the rest of us, I guess.
right.
All right,
I-
Hunter, be
everybody's
quiet for a minute.
talking
'Cause
about
we
it.
have to cover 1,000 things here, and you're going to talk all day. You've left the lighting industry for a few years, and you got a lot of stuff to say. I get it.
I just miss you, Marcel. That's all.
I miss you too, man. It's nice to see your bubbly face on here. I love it. And of course, John Dixon calls me like right at the start time of the call, and he goes, "You busy? You got a minute?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just about to get on the happy hour." Oh shit. So nice to see you here, John. So
Nice to be
anyways, we have a couple of things to cover, and I know there's a bunch of our Red Alert team on here. And so first and foremost, you know, I'm blown away by still how much action this thing's getting. Still, you know, every day, all kinds of additional press coming through. I don't even know what the Facebook stats are anymore because I don't check them anymore. I mean, last time I checked was a few days ago, and it was over 2.5 million people reached. And I think it was over 400,000 actual, you know, actions that people did, likes or forwards or shares or whatever. It's just insane. I mean, it just doesn't stop. And Brad will tell you he's still getting emails. I'm still getting emails.
Most importantly, we've written over 13,000 letters now on the site.
That is insane. That is just super cool. So, you know, it's tremendous what we all did. But as everyone knows, and as Gary warned me when we started this thing, the big question now is, so what's next? So what I wanted to cover is a couple of those things right now. So the very first thing is that I am working hard to establish a organization. And because right now we're a fly by the seat of your pants, you know, nothing. I mean, we're not really a company. We're not an organization. We're not a charity. We're not a group. We're not really anything. We're a bunch of people who went, okay, let's go do this thing. And we did. And so now what, right? So believe it or not, so I've been working with Gary, who's also on this, and he's going to talk to us in a minute about some of the things he's got planned. But I've been working with Gary on just what they have established in the UK as far as structuring an organization and actually a company behind that organization. And so we're looking to do the same thing here. First and foremost is I am actually, believe it or not, building a org chart. So I've created an org chart with actual positions that have actual titles and job descriptions of some sort. And so, you know, the last time we did this was on this call, and I just went, who wants to come along? And a few people raised their hands, and we were a complete misfit organization. You know, we didn't have the right person in almost any role except maybe arguably, well, Brad for sure. Brad definitely found his calling doing that. But secondly, Ellen, you know, Ellen being a media person fell into the media role quite nicely, but most of us just kind of did what we needed to do every day. And so this time it's actually going to be, you know, putting a finance person in charge of finance, putting this person in charge of this, and you know, finding a matching skill set. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do it very diplomatically, even though I'm not really a committee or a diplomacy kind of guy when it comes to some of this stuff. But I'm only part of this. This isn't my thing. So all I'm doing right now is I'm trying to create a platform and a structure that everybody can just kind of fit into. And so I'm almost done that. And I've been working on it for about a week, just very part-time. So it's not like I'm a super slow worker or anything. And so by tomorrow, I will have this org chart done, and then I'm going to send out like a form/survey to all of you and to everyone who was in our group last week. And that is basically just going to say, here's a role. Who do you think should be in it? The person who's in it today, maybe it's me, the person, some person you know, or you know, who do you think should be in this role? And I'd really love for everybody to give feedback on that, because what we want to do is we want to identify people that have the right skill set for each of those roles, and then we'll reach out to all of those people and make sure, number one, that they do have the skill set, number two, that you have the time and energy to take this role on, because we're treating it as a real job. This really is a real job, a real position, even though you don't get paid for it. It's a very important role. Each of these roles is. So that is going to be happening in the next couple of days. And then hopefully, let's say by Monday or Tuesday of next week, we should actually be very close to selecting people for each of those positions based on all of your suggestions. You know, if 10 people suggest the same person for a particular role, then chances are that's a pretty good person and we should lean heavily on that person. Maybe reaching out to a bunch of you to ask questions, etc. If anyone wants to raise their hand and say, hey, you know, I want a position in this thing, whether it's a board member position at the very top, a managed or directorial position sort of near the top, but a little above the middle, or more of it like a team leader kind of thing, you know, all of these positions are going to need to be filled, and we'll probably end up with somewhere, you know, just at a national level, somewhere around 20 something people, I think. So very much a group thing, not anything that's, you know, me dictating or Brad dictating or anyone else. By the way, I intend to take a lesser role, and, you know, one, because I'm not a perfect fit for some of these things. Two, because I actually have a company to run, two companies to run. And it's been really hard to do both over the past few weeks. So I need to be very careful about how much time I dedicate to this. And I just really think that it needs more people involved with a lot more thought and you know, just creativity and everything. So that's happening. You know, so two more things I want to go through. One is I want Brad to give us kind of a housekeeping update just on what's going on in the last few days, some of the things that we've tackled. And then I want to hear from Gary, because I've been kind of teasing you guys with something that is being worked on as the next big thing. And Gary will fill us in a little bit on that, and it's pretty exciting. So any questions from me before I kind of pass the mic to Brad? Nothing? Cool. Brad, shoot.
Sure. I don't have a whole bunch of stuff, but thanks everybody, as always, for everything that you've done. If you are not in the email, and there are several people on this call that I'm sure were not, we sent out to all of the regional directors a PDF document that kind of goes through what we accomplished and the stats, along with a letter to Congress that we've asked all of them to distribute to their teams. So if any of you did not receive that from anybody and would like a copy of that to reach out to Congress directly or to share with your circles to reach out to Congress, please let me know, and we'd be happy to get you that information. You know, the more the better, as always. So we are currently in the process of updating the website. We did some immediate things last week that were critical, like past tense kind of verbiage, but we're now working more on making sure that all of the materials that were related to getting 291 are replaced with materials that are going forward. So those are all good things, and some great things in process. One thing that I did want to share with everybody is I am in final conversations to hopefully secure full-time employment. Yay. So assuming that happens, which I should know in the next few days, then I am not going to have the bandwidth to continue in my current role, which is also part of the conversation that Marcel is mentioning. So definitely please provide any feedback that you can, suggestions on who can fit in each of these slots that we've kind of put together, as what the next steps are going to be critically dependent on those positions getting filled, so that this doesn't just fizzle out because everybody else has other things that they end up focusing on. So please help us with that. And otherwise, about next steps specifically, you know, Marcel mentioned Gary has some things to share about what's happening on the global level, which is really exciting. We are, our immediate next step is really getting these roles filled before we can make any conclusive decisions about what our involvement is going to be in any of these next things so that it can happen in an organized way. What we did in such a short time was really amazing, but required, you know, every minute of every person's day that was involved. And that's not fair to ask of everyone long-term, obviously. So step one is get this done in an organized fashion and make it something that is manageable long-term rather than just in a 2 or 3 week sprint. So kind of where we're at. If anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to reach out, or any thoughts that anybody has right now.
One thing I would like to mention is that Brad's been talking to me about this role that he's getting, which is actually a very nice role in our industry. And I know he doesn't want to talk about it yet, but you know, that's a very positive thing, obviously, that someone in our industry is hiring a guy at Brad's level. And you know, it's a very nice gig, etc. So congratulations, Brad. And I think that's a very positive thing.
Thanks. Yeah, it's telling for the industry that hopefully things are starting to look in the forward direction as opposed to the just halting direction, which is good.
So what gig did you get, Brad?
I'll let you know when I actually get it.
I'm still trying to talk him out of it, but Gary, so I think everyone knows Gary White. And for those of you who are not involved, shame on you in We Make Events. I'm sorry that we're boring you here. We're going to get off of this topic in another 5 or 10 minutes and get on to more fun things, hopefully. And yeah, so Gary, where the hell are you? I don't see you. Gary White? I know he was here. I saw it. Oh, there you are.
Hello. Sorry, my internet is a bit unstable. Unfortunately, I'm in a hotel somewhere, so not quite on my own.
That's all right.
So, I mean, I suppose we're 4 weeks ahead of you, basically. So, as you mentioned, we did our first event on August the 11th, and we were in the same position you are now, where by the time we got to the 12th, everybody was saying, "What's next?" And we decided as a group that we would take a step back and pull together some concrete foundations, which is what Marcel's trying to do, i.e. put some groups together utilizing everybody's skill set and an organizational chart. So whether it be finance or whether it be events, marketing, PR, we've completely rebranded. We've sort of moved ourselves, and I know it sounds a bit formal, but we've moved ourselves a bit more towards a company to be able to get best value out of the amount of people we've had engaged. So, you know, we had, I don't know, 150 people in our calls, and not everybody was fully engaged with utilizing their skill set. So we spent a week looking at it and 2 weeks implementing it, which was really quite tough, but with the commitment from everybody, we're now in a position where we are an organization where almost departments, but we have a challenge, and I can only speak from the UK point of view, is that our freelancers and our sector are just not being supported by the government. And I think in another, well, it's already critical. We're on our knees already, to be frank, but we've got some crucial, well, our support is removed in the next few weeks, which will just leave our friends and colleagues in a bit of a disaster zone. So by the time we get to December, it's going to be pretty much hell out there. So we decided to take control of our own destiny. So we're actually actively in so many different ways looking at raising funds to be able to distribute them into charities in our sector to pass that money down. And I'm not talking like a couple of £1 million. I'm talking way bigger than that. Hence why we needed to put all the concrete foundations in position. I do and could have a presentation once you guys decide whether you're fully engaged, because there's no way that it can be a few people if you want to take it to the next level. Sure, you can do another red alert, but that doesn't quite cut it. I mean, 50% of the reason we did all of what we did on both sides of the pond is that it's about engagement and getting people feeling like they've got a voice. And I think that was extremely powerful on our side as it was your side. People feeling they had their moment. And we're continuing to do that. But now we're also utilizing everybody's skill set and other strands to raise as much money as we can. And our long-term goal, and when I'm talking long-term, I'm talking November, early December, is we're trying to have ourselves a Live Aid. We've done it for everybody else, and we're going to do it for ourselves on this occasion. Now, there's a number of testing systems out there, certainly in the UK, and the one that we're talking to is currently in motion for FDA approval, FYI. And it works alongside an app, so it's an identification system, and you basically have a test. And I'm not a scientist, I'm just going to give you a very, very broad brush, but in reality, it gives you a 72-hour pass, because during that period of the scientists say that the incubation period, you just cannot pass on COVID. So we're working with this scientific group, and that's currently in our process in public health in the UK. And it's already been approved in Europe, and it's being utilized in airports in Germany already. It's been utilized at Warner Studios, where they're doing a film in the UK, and also oil and gas are working with the system. So it's already operational. We're just waiting for it to have its rubber tick, its green tick, I suppose. In the background, we have already started putting together a working group of the top of the best in the UK to get ourselves our first test event, which will be a full capacity event in a venue called Indigo, which is on the perimeter of the O2 in London. And then from that, we'll do a theatre test event, and then we'll probably do one at the Albert, and our final one will be a full capacity, 25,000 seater venue. And at the same time, these are all ideas that we're working on. Obviously, we'll sell the broadcast rights for that. And will be the televised event. But in parallel with that, we're also very, very close now to having an industry documentary commissioned that follows our path with not only our friends and colleagues in there and suppliers, but also the story of how we're going to get from zero, i.e. we're allowed 6 people in a room, if you like, through to a full capacity venue by managing and taking control of our own destiny. Because we feel that it's actually, I think the government wants us to do this in a bizarre way, because it's not what how we operate. They think that you can just turn the switch on, and we all know that in order to do a gig, it's months of work beforehand. If you want to put a theatre show back in Broadway, that's 3.5 months. And we don't expect anybody to be able to give us a date that we can start opening up, because is that really practical? But what we can do is put in systems in order for us to test ourselves, operate and function, and see if we can then share information to allow us to almost self-manage our problem that we're in. And it sounds very daring, but that's exactly where we're driving, and we're driving it right down the middle of the road. At the same time, we've brought together some senior people from our sector, but more licensing specialists from government and various other parties, and they're an observational working group. So they'll be observing what we're doing as a working group and trying to help us remove any roadblocks that we're going to get along our way in order to get this full capacity event going. So there's loads of detail that I do have, and that could support this with a presentation, and we can make that all available to you guys. But that's our main path we're going down. Lots of artist requests of whether it be memorabilia, and our website's being pressed together now so we can do auctions. The list goes on and on and on about raising as much money as we can. We're not fishing in our pond, because our pond is empty and there's no fish. So everywhere we're going is completely out of our sector. So we're looking to talk to, obviously the likes of Amazon's and others as well, Netflix, to not only help us with the commissioning of our documentary, but also pay-per-view potentially. But fundamentally, this all came from when I was working with Harvey or Goldsmith on this is what we want to do and this is how we want to do it. And his response was, I ain't doing any fucking show without a fucking audience. So on the back of that stimulated me to say, right, leave that with us, our team. And we went off to find the technology out there, which is currently available. It's just not had its tick. and we're wrapping all of the logistics. That's what we do for a living, is move people around. You know, there's no big deal of how we can manage a whole bunch of people. And the app itself, if one, you know, you guys have all toured, and if it's already being utilized in a German airport, and it's part of it, so once you've had your test positive, negative, then that activates your boarding pass and takes you in a sterile zone. But beyond that, you don't need to worry about the, you know, how secure the app is, etc., because if a German airport is utilizing that, we already know that there's a few assumptions we can make that it's a great app. But the it's been developed by a British intelligence guy from MI5, so you know that's why it's all pretty well locked up. So that, and along another 50 other things, I could bore you for hours. But once you guys feel like you do, A, if you want to go down the road, and B, how you're going to set yourselves up, then I'll come back and do a you know, a more detailed presentation. Done.
Gary, question though, and I know the answer, but on the Live Aid thing, number one, is it actually called Live Aid, and have you secured that branding? And number two, is that intended to be a global event?
Okay, so first of all, let's just answer your question. Live Aid, I haven't asked that question, but I imagine that it does belong to Harvey, and Harvey's confirmed that he's our promoter. So that's already done and dusted, as far as I'm concerned. I do believe that we think we're probably going to call it Live Aid Red Alert or something on them lines. That's where we're heading down the road, fundamentally. In terms of, is it a global event? That's up to you guys, really. We have, you know, we're pushing ourselves right down the road with what we're currently doing in the UK. But it's a lot of energy, and it's a lot of people, and it's a lot of time. However, it's our turn, because so many of our friends and colleagues are suffering, that, you know, that's what's getting me, you know, literally the amount of effort we're all putting in to try and get some funds in their accounts before Christmas is our real goal.
Yeah.
Where
Anyone
is
have
it?
any questions?
Yeah, where is a concert going to be?
So we've already started talking to the O2. In an ideal world, we'd love it to be at Wembley, but unfortunately, because it's the wrong time of the year, so you know, my heart tells me Wembley and my head tells me O2, because it's indoors.
And what are the social distancing rules?
There won't be any social distancing rules. It'll be as a normal gig. It's all to do with this passport system that you get tested before you even arrive. Well, okay, let's just rewind. So first of all, you upload the app, and then you look on the back of uploading your app, then you do your ID and you do a little video, and that accreditation goes to a person that then says, yes, you're fine. You then get a QR code sent to you. And on the back of that QR code, when you go and get your test.
No, I understand all that, but like in the States, there isn't any state that so far has approved that.
No, and we're the same in the UK.
Uh-oh. You're frozen, Gary.
I froze him.
All of the authorities to say, look, we have an opportunity here to deliver an event. I'm unstable. By doing this process. So
just kill your video.
Yeah. What did you miss?
Everything after my question.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, it was a really good answer as well.
He's very diplomatic.
Could we have it again?
Yes, we're exactly the same situation. Nothing's approved, but we will put all the processes in place and to then work alongside the authorities to get the approvals, because it's, look, the politicians have said they're following the science in the.
Yeah. Gary, you got to get out of the pool. There's no connection.
Yeah, if we could join them, then it would have to be them followed by us because of the time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gary, I guess the challenge to what you're describing is, I'm surprised you have a promoter on board when there's no approval to put people to a venue. Over here, I'm not sure that's going to happen right now. Like, that's part of the problem is there's a cart, a horse, a chicken, an egg, whatever you want to call it, and nobody wants to do anything before the other one says that it's okay to do something or whatever, right?
Sorry, just to answer that, that's why we're doing 3 test events. We're not going to go straight to a full capacity venue with 25,000 people. We're going to do a full capacity of 2,500 people, and then we'll wait 2 weeks to monitor. But this system's already, if you think that you're following the science, then this system is following the science and will give you what we need it to be, i.e. nobody can pass on COVID in that 72-hour period.
There's also in New York, Cuomo said they're looking at trying to open up entertainment. There was a press conference today. So what they're trying to do is watch the metrics. And I mean, basically they're slowly opening indoor dining. They just announced that. And then if the cases stay low, they're going to start trying to open entertainment.
Yeah, but they opened indoor dining at 25% with a whole lot of restrictions. So I don't think anything fast is going to happen in New York.
Well, they said by November we should know. So
they fucking lie. The other part is that over in
welcome back, John.
Hey, I'm back. So in the UK, the laws are a lot different too. I mean, I'm all for this. It sounds great. They've got a completely different legal system over there where they can probably act more like adults.
Can they sue anybody, John?
Well, you know what? You can sue anybody you want in any place you want. The difference is in America, if you get sued and you win and you lose, if you sue somebody and you win or lose, it doesn't matter. Everyone pays their own legal bills to a certain degree. In the UK, if I sue you and I lose, I got to pay your bills. So people are a lot, more thoughtful in pulling the trigger.
Yeah,
Hello,
less
Tom.
frivolous.
Look, I think that there's no detail in my conversation because my internet is so unstable. But when you guys sort of slightly reform, allow me to go through the actual detail, and I'll bring maybe a bit more of a science team with us so we can explain. But I do think, for example, if this testing system gets your FDA approval, which it's currently in that, it's in the process at the moment, then, I'm sure there's a conversation to be had.
My challenge isn't whether or not we can do it, because I think we can. I thought we could for 6 months. But my challenge is in today's climate, with all of the challenges we have, and Wiseman, you can definitely explain how this all works. But if you're looking at a November date, you got to go backwards from that November date and say, by here we have to have the building on hold. By here we have to have the promoter ready. By here we have to have the act in place or acts in place if it's a festival type show. By here we have to have sound and lights contracted. By here we have to, and I think we're already past most of those windows.
Well,
November date.
The good news is, there's
everybody's
a lot
available.
Of people, a lot of people really want to go to work, and a lot of gear's available, et cetera, et cetera. But there is. I mean, it's really down to the governments and back to the liability questions. I mean, we're doing a lot of shoots in our XR studios right now, and we've gone from, a protocol for COVID testing that, for example, the Metallica drive-in shoot that we did a couple of weeks ago, we flew the whole crew up there. Our crew merged with the other disciplines crew. And they were quarantined for 2 weeks. They sat there for 2 weeks, being tested and yeah, exactly. It's nothing but money. Now there's these other tests like he was just talking about.
Wiseman, your backlight is impeccable, but can you dim it down to 20?
There you go. I'm in a hotel room. I just checked into a hotel room just for old time's sake. And back in the day, they were always They're always blacked out.
I mean, I guess the other question is, why can't it be a drive-in? We've already done drive-in shows. Why can't we do a drive-in Live Aid?
Because drive-ins fucking suck.
They suck, but it's a show that we can do to raise money. I agree, they suck, but it's a way around the situation.
I just don't think they raise that much money, to be honest with you. You know, if you're Metallica and you can sell 300,000 tickets, that's one thing. Not everybody's Metallica. Not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
But
So,
are
you
we
know,
here today doing this for the audience in the house, or are we doing this in an online situation? Because in an online situation with no audience, but if the impetus is to do this so that we have people in the house, a full event with 25,000 people, if that's the impetus, then I'm good with that. But we can also do things with empty events in a similar way.
Well, that's what I was going to suggest. We could live stream what they do in the UK and sell tickets online and raise money for our side of it that way.
They're setting a format by which governments can figure out how they're going to finally allow this to happen sooner than later. You've got a scenario, Gary, that you're going to do a couple of preemptive events, then you're going to do one large event, and hopefully they'll allow you to do that, and that's going to be set the example of the protocol to move in.
That's a great point, Bob, because that's exactly what I was going to say is how does that move the sticks forward for us to do an online event? I mean,
well, hey, look, forget about the online stuff for now. Has anyone heard of, I mean, I heard from my guy that runs Australia for us that they're opening up live venues, no distancing, no nothing in Australia to up to 4,000 seats in the next, I think, 10 days. So, you know, does that break through, and does everybody, you know, is everyone dead in 90 days, or is it just like, is it back to normal? I mean, how fast does it go back to normal?
How long?
I don't think unless you make it a priority, it will be normal anytime soon. So I kind of like, what if you took, you know, Gary's broadcast and you interspersed it? Yes, we do our stuff in our studios wherever we are because we're 30 days behind where they're at. But we're at least making people notice, hey, there's a path here. And this is how
I just don't think the economic model works. I think it works if you're the Metallica, and I think then it drops off way down from there. If you're doing,
I think
if you did a free of,
our industry's gonna have to be Mel Gibson and the Patriot and take the flag to the front line.
Yeah.
Now we already had Smash Mouth and Sturgis, and they did it wrong. But I think that we, being the professionals and the best in the world, could put this together, could use the science and show people how it's done correctly, and also help the whole country in the same time. I don't think it's anything crazy. I think we're just going to have to find the state that's going to let us do it.
Has Germany come back with
2 seconds? Corey, you've hit the nail right on the head, which is what we're pushing. Follow the science. It's going to be the science that will allow us to get to our full capacity.
No,
and the rest of it we can do ourselves.
No, Gary's absolutely right. And I'm telling you, all the talk of the drive-ins, and I mean, I love ingenuity. I love let's make it happen kind of stuff. But I personally, it's not a model to get back to. I don't want to. It doesn't work economically. It does not work.
Agreed, John. But let me interject real quick about what has happened.
Wait. Let me just finish my thought. All right.
Sure.
You already had me change my fucking backlight. Let me finish my thought. There's a group of people that there's Marty Hom, there's Bill Leibody, there's Trez Thomas, backed by Live Nation. I believe the Azoff group is in there as well. They have come up with I think it's a lot of what Gary was talking about. There's a test that's been proven, and they're waiting on FDA approval. It should be about 6 to 8 weeks. They're talking about putting it in this fast track plan, warp speed, assuming that that's still, you know, viable and happening. It is a instant test. You do it at the door, and it works right now. And I'm getting ready to film three television segments with an artist, and we're already going to segue that into it as a test. So, I mean, honestly, I love ingenuity. I love the whole thing. We did the Metallica shoot. It was great. They sold 300,000 tickets. I think that's rare. I think it's a one-off. I just don't think it happens very often. That's not going to get us all back to work. doing one big show like that. So it is the science, it's going to be something like that either allows people to come in and everyone else feels safe, along with a vaccine to follow. And then hopefully this will just be a bad memory. I'm grateful.
No, totally. And let me move forward with what I have heard and seen today. Obviously, we did the Houston effort and we got Mayor Turner on board, day of, it was such a clusterfuck, but he totally came on and spoke for our cause. And it was amazing. Obviously, you guys saw it on the Facebook stream, and it's gotten a lot of traction. Today, him and Susan Christian, who is his deputy mayor, right-hand girl, they did another press conference specifically talking to the live events industry. So they did a press conference today in Houston about the live events industry and what we're going to do. And I was on the phone with Rob McKinley from LD. We're doing drive-in Houston Texans show, right? So the game is in Kansas City, opening day NFL in Kansas City, and they are at 20% capacity, I believe. And that's 16,000 people spread out around the stadium. And so I was asking Rob, what's the scoop with Houston when we have a home game? And right now we're under a state mandate, but I guess they're kind of spreading it out a little bit to regional. So we don't know what's the scoop on a live event. And Mayor Turner and Susan Christian from City of Houston Mayor's Office of Special Events did a press conference talking directly to our cause. And that was the coolest phone call I have fucking had. I mean, it was so kick-ass. It's like everything that we just did, it worked, and now it's a talking point regionally. So
yeah, but
I'm not sure.
So on a national level though, John,
what the scoop is on, I'm sorry?
Can't we on a national level now kind of push it to the next step, basically take it up a notch and say, we now think we can safely do events, and here's what we need from you. We need you to approve this, this, and this. And that becomes our messaging for whatever we're doing in the next 45 or 60 days. We need these three things, and we can do live events, and we'll do them safely. And here's why we'll do them
You bet.
safely. And
it's working.
Again, using science.
Yep.
Yeah. But me personally, and I might be way off base here, and I know there's other people who have different ideas, but
Canadian.
I'm with John on the no drive-ins and no, for me, as much as virtual events are amazing, I don't think that's what we should be promoting right now. Like, we should be promoting live events. We should be trying to get back to a position where we can do a live event. That should be our goal, not necessarily a stream.
Well, that's
unless we're just trying to raise money
in a limited capacity.
I totally agree with John. I'm involved right now in developing a drive-in event for something that's not music. And the guy who's the promoter for it is like, Robert, we're not going to make any money doing this. These are the capacities.
That sounds fun.
Don't fuck up the industry, Robert.
Too late, man. He's been in it for too many decades. No, but look at Robert's right. And I go back to what Marcel just said. Like, look, you got to get started. If you can't, you sit around and wring your hands and doing the drive-ins. It's all clever. It's all good. I love the vibe. I love how everyone's, make it happen kind of attitude. It is not how we turn our business back on. It's
exactly.
To get paid.
Right, and get what
I hear that, John
about
Weissman.
preparing
Can
to
I-
pull the
can
trigger
I
when we
ask?
can.
Can
So
I
that way,
ask?
when the science is with us, we can just pull the trigger. I think that's a great plan. Just prepare and then wait for it to be possible.
Well, I think you got to
Gary
take. I hate to say
go
this,
and
but I can't-
advance
I
this
can't-
prior to the Gary and them are going to advance this prior to the science, basically, right? I mean,
I do not agree that you wait. I mean,
Yeah.
if we wait, then we're going to be waiting a lot longer
yeah.
than if we try and get something going.
Look,
I
I'm gonna
can agree with
say a fucking phrase I hate. God, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Baby steps, okay? You can't fucking run until you walk. And if you sit there hoping you're gonna walk and you don't step up and take a chance that you might fall or trip a little bit, You're never going to walk or run if you sit there and wring your hands and try to work around and avoid the problem. I mean, there's got to be a point to where you just say, look, people have personal responsibility, and guess what? We're going to have a concert. We have testing. We have ways to do this. Come at your own risk. Come join us. And I got news for you. So the people who don't want to be there, we don't want them there, and they should not be there. But the people who want to get out and go do something, at a certain point, there's personal responsibility, and you take personal risk. When you get in your car to drive, to the store, you're taking a risk. Okay.
Don, we had around 10,000 people engaged last week, lighting up buildings in red.
Spectacular, by the way.
I personally, and please don't tell me now because I'll be very upset, but I have not heard of a single sick person last week. So
it was just like Sturgis.
We had 10,000 people engaged and nobody got sick. And so I don't know. I think it can be done. And I know Eric Loader's trying crazy to speak here. So I want to hear. John, if you could be quiet for a second, Loader wants to say something.
It's fucking impossible.
Eric.
Missed you, John. Missed you.
I'll just mute him.
No, I just wanted to add what Gary was saying. I mean, Gary, like he said, he's a month ahead of us, and even in Germany, they're ahead of us too, and they're close. They're close to having a solution for us to get back to business. Is the bottom line, and I can't understand why the NFL isn't all over it, because talk about people losing money hand over fist.
Politics.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. If this works, which I think the testing is still happening right now and approvals in Germany, in the UK, but if this works, they should be on this, and in 3 to 4 weeks, the NFL will be full capacity, and I think we'll be back to.
But Eric, nobody wants to talk about it, but it's politics. It really is, because here's the thing. Like in the UK, for example, what's his name? Boris, the prime minister, you're getting fined if you don't put your kids in school right now. Nobody in the US is going to like that. We're not going to put up with it. There's going to be just a massive battle and a brawl going on in the streets. And so we wait.
We're gonna follow their lead is the bottom line because of our political situation. But what I'm saying is I was on this AV Alliance call this week, and the whole AV industry over there, I mean, they've already submitted this to the German government. It's close. It's close to.
That's very sensible. It's very sensible.
Whatever happened to the German?
I was just going to ask that.
What were the results from that
concert? They still have one more week before they have the results back.
Because that's going to be huge.
Can I put forth two ideas? One would be kind of absurd, which would be, Gary, could you guys hold 30 days for us to catch up? B, could we broadcast and really push Gary's effort and come up with our own 30 days later for us to catch up? That this does set the guidelines for us to reopen, and otherwise it's going to be an afterthought after things start picking up, where 4 politicians will carry the flag. I agree with John Weissman. We have to carry the flag, and John, you've already convinced me that doing the outdoor, even in my own little studio and things, that we need to show people what they remember, and we have to show them how it can be done. But we can't do it on your time frame because, Gary, you guys are 30 days ahead. Wait 30 days, we can join you. Otherwise, we push your effort, broadcast it, put it out widely, and announce we'll follow that pattern in 30 days.
I still feel right at the election. I don't know what that means, but that puts us right on election day. If you follow that time.
Gary, what was your date that you're going to do?
End of November.
End of November.
I don't think they wait because you need evidence. I don't think you wait. I think
I still feel that there's a catch that until people like Live Nation, unless you start, check that box as the licensing agreement when you buy your ticket, until they are not going to feel that they are liable in any way, shape, or form. If you come, yes, that's your own thing. You check that box, that's your own regard, and I feel that's perfectly fucking cool. However, I feel until that they can push off that liability, if 400 people get sick at a 15,000 person concert, that they're not going to be a promoter to support them.
Hey, well, hold on a second.
But what if we can do a show without Live Nation?
Well, no, but hold on.
Hey, Jason, are you using your wife's account?
No, she took mine.
So, Jason.
Yes, sir.
There's a tipping point where
I
the
agree.
promoters cannot be safe anymore. You know
Yeah.
what? They can sit back and do nothing and go bankrupt. They just did a whole round of layoffs again last Friday, right?
Yeah.
Huge. And so there's going to be a point where it's going to be cheaper to get sued for somebody getting sick than not do anything.
It is, but just like every time that any one of us downloads an app and it says check this box to agree
I'm
to,
down with
to
that.
agree to our terms, I feel that's the only way that we're going to get over this hurdle that you're bringing up.
I'd be willing to bet you right now that it's already on the ticket. It's in the form, okay? It's probably been there for 25 years. You just never read it.
Probably.
You know.
Probably.
I mean, there's an app right now that tags on with Citizens that it's Bluetooth tracing. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's called
Yeah.
SafePass. That if you're within 6 feet of or under 6 feet of somebody who tests positive, you have to upload the information onto SafePass, but you get notified. So it's kind of a contact tracing thing. So there is that infrastructure and technology that's starting to be released.
Yeah, but
now.
what Gary is talking about though is to enter the building, you have to have a little green QR code on your phone.
Yeah.
If you don't have the green QR code, you won't get in the building, period.
What if you can't have a phone?
Meaning every single, then you won't go to the concert, period. I mean,
Right.
No.
Or you're stuck in the
You know how
70s and
they're-
music doesn't matter. You know, you just want banjos and some.
What you have to do is you have to flip, the phone has to flip open to see it. You have to flip the phone open.
Yeah.
That's what
you got to.
No, he's saying, what if you don't have a phone? I mean, then you're
Well,
then
yeah.
you're retarded, basically.
Well, no. Sometimes they take the phones from you. You've seen a Dave Chappelle show, or sometimes they.
Well, we're not going to
collect
take
the
the phones from them.
You're already
No,
in.
they lock up the phones when you get in there in Ziploc bags.
Yeah, they're already
staying.
You're already in then. At that point, you're already in. Doesn't
But
matter.
guys, what turned into what happened in Sturgis? I mean, not for nothing. I mean, what happens? Like Bill Saps has said in the chat. I mean, what if we do this, and this turns into a super spreader?
David, you understand that you cannot get a freaking concert ticket. You can't walk into this concert unless you have a green QR code on your phone, which means that within the last 72 hours, you have tested negative.
Well, hold on a
And you
second.
cannot-
Did I miss something?
Man, you guys are.
Sturgis just suddenly kill everybody? Did I miss something?
Yeah,
They
it
got
totally
a few
did.
cases.
Yeah.
They got a few cases.
Yeah.
Well,
What
got
those
a little
cases
more
that
than
happened
that.
anyway?
250,000 cases, they said.
No, that's
That's bullshit. That's
that was
bullshit.
based on
Projection. That's projection.
It's projected. It's more than a few, and it's spread quite far. But because we don't have tracking and tracing, nobody can prove it.
Yeah, but did that happen? Could that have happened at the fucking supermarket? I mean, at a certain point.
Yes.
Unlikely.
Yes.
To get
there. There's
Come on, man.
You can't.
But again,
500,000 people come from all around the states, stay together without masks for 10 days,
right.
and
Okay,
then
so
go
here's the
home.
difference, guys.
That's the
Let's
way
not
that goes.
lose. Let's
Yeah,
not
but
lose
did it
sight of
happen?
this, though.
And do a bunch of meth.
Done. Everyone, please calm down.
Did it
Let's
happen?
not lose sight. Let's not lose sight of something here. Okay. What Gary is talking about is nobody gets in the venue without proving that you're not sick. We are not going to spread. It's not going to be a super spreader. It's not going to be on
Agreed.
CNN. It's just not going to happen
that's the
because
instant
nobody
test.
is sick in the entire building.
I
That's
love
the
your
instant
optimism.
test. That's the
No, but
instant
what do you
test.
mean? Are we following science or not?
Marcel,
Science.
I feel you're absolutely correct, Marcel, but I feel there's a limit. I feel if you need to do it for 1,500 or 3,000 people, it is doable to check. It is doable because we're talking about lines coming in the building. I feel
No,
1,500
no,
to
because you
3,000.
have
If we're
72
talking about,
hours. No.
yeah, but if we're talking about
Jen,
15 or 20,000
Jen.
people, yeah,
Jen, listen.
Jen.
not quite. 15 or
just
20,000 people
kidding.
got to be checked. You're going to have to open
No, but
doors.
Jason,
That's not what he's
listen.
saying.
No, but you're not checking at the venue. There's sites all. You can go to a 7-Eleven store down the street and get your test done, and you get the green QR code, and you have to show a passport,
Can't get
and there's
tests
all
at
kinds of
7-Eleven,
matching
Marcel.
stuff.
Guys.
Whatever the location is, I'm making up
Guys.
7-Eleven. Whatever
Guys.
the location is.
I've
Can everyone
put,
shut
I've
up
put-
and let Gary talk for a minute?
I've put the link to the website of the travel section of what I'm talking about, which you'll be able to take a closer look in your own time. But fundamentally, that's the system that we'll be working with. Okay? And
Yeah, we're we're definitely not talking about Sturgis. We're not talking about just, hey, let's be a bunch of maverick cowboys and throw 100,000 people into a venue and hope for the best. You know, that's not what we're talking about doing. That would be crazy right now.
We use that system if some state doesn't say we can.
Well,
No.
as I said, FDA are currently working a bit for the approvals, but and going back to John Wiseman's favorite phrase, baby steps. So therefore, once it's approved, and you need to find out which state is looking at it, who isn't, why, and then start working with them to, you know, to in order to move forward. That's the only way of doing this.
Yeah, there are a lot of states who are very who would be very interested in working together with us on something like this. And I know Florida would be one of them that would be interested in working together with us. Look, here's science. Are you okay with this science? Are your scientists and doctors okay with this science? Okay, here's what we want to do. Here's how we think we can do it. You got a bunch of people sitting at a table. Everybody looks at the paperwork and goes, you know what? That makes a hell of a lot of sense. And not only would that be a positive thing, but that would, you know, get me some votes too. So, you know,
Marcel, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry to interrupt. You're absolutely right. And what's interesting and what can be an, I know, what can be an added bonus to this is there's going to be, let me organize my thoughts. So tracing is obviously really important, and getting people to opt into tracing. And that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Not only are you proving that you've been tested in the last 3 days, but then if you also say, you know, I'm going to enable an app on my phone to contact trace, it helps us all come out of this faster. And we're going to need to get our country people used to that. And by giving large concerts and saying, you can't come to these, or you can't come to a Broadway show without enabling this feature, it's going to actually help everybody. So I think it's the path forward. And I think a lot of folks will be resistant to it because it's Big Brother, as if Big Brother wasn't on every device we already had already. But making it, you know, you get to go do these things if you opt into these is
well, this is very different though, Herrick, because I agree with you, by the way, on some of that Big Brother stuff with contact tracing and you know, ooh, you came close to this guy or whatever. This is very different. This is just me.
It's a 72 hours.
It's just no, but it's just like me handing out a passport saying, "Look, I'm okay to," or my my safe traveler card. You know,
right? But also, it's going to get down. It'll get hacked, unfortunately, or like anything, like your.
You know, there's a lot of information. Go to the link that Gary provided.
I'm sure it's as good as possible at the moment. And
they're using it at the airport. Which airport, Gary? In Germany.
Germany.
Which one? Though? There's a lot of airports in Germany.
I think it's Dusseldorf. But can I just add two more things?
That's great.
No,
please.
Two more interesting facts that we're working with. McKesson, I think that's an American company. They also own Celesio, which is a large medical company in Europe. I've helped and opened the doors for the testing company to also speak to McKesson. They're now looking at, because the system is really easy to operate and very small, they're now looking at, in alignment with us, of putting the testing in, because it takes 30 minutes to get a test that's positive and 40 for negative. And so they're looking at putting them in the high street as well. And also they're talking to Transport for London to try and put them in and around the network. So it's.
Oh, he's frozen again. Come on, Gary.
Look. Yep.
Gary, if you pay for the Wi-Fi at the hotel instead of the free one, it actually works. It's a beautiful thing.
Now.
Okay, come on, let's put up a GoFundMe link right now to get Gary real Wi-Fi. Come on. If everyone puts in 20 cents, I think we can get him through the end of this call.
So anyway.
Shut off your video, Gary, because then
absolutely.
You won't freeze up as much.
So McKesson is one. And secondly, we are talking to promoters via hashtag Let the Music Play, Greg Palmley, and so on and so forth, that if you think it is a 72-hour pass, then actually, if you have your test at Friday lunchtime, you can book your gig for Friday night, you can book a museum on Saturday midday, go to a nightclub Saturday night, and suddenly through one website, because we've got a blank piece of paper here to create something with promoters, that actually the cost of the testing can be shared amongst a number of events, as also something we're looking at.
I love that concept, you know, where you can kind of plan your whole weekend because you've just booked clean on Friday.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what we're up to.
Good job, Gary. So that's a interesting little discussion. Anyone have anything to follow up on that one?
Not smart. It's just it's just smart and logical.
Well, I think we would need a promoter first, like they have, to even get this off the ground.
Oh, and how does this account for indemnification or insurance when the county health commissioner decides he doesn't like it and shut you down?
Well, first of all, you have all the answers to all these questions before you even approach them. But secondly, because you're using science, it's very difficult to argue against science, to be honest.
You know our president?
Well, yeah, I'm so sorry about that. But then also, if you're working with a state, there's hopefully, and your test event may only be 1,000 people, then hopefully somebody can indemnify you on that and work with you, because it's 1,000 people, you're doing your test event, and then you're going to monitor it for the 2-week period to make sure that it works, and then you'll step it up. None of that's unreasonable. And don't forget the domino effect of our economy not operating. It is across the whole state, as you know. If you're going to go to a theatre show, you buy your dress, you go for dinner, then you stay in a hotel. It all, you know, there's an economy thing here, let alone the fact that of just our sector. So you have all your arguments. It's just a matter of putting them all in the right order.
Can we ask Live Nation to be the promoter? Marcel?
Yeah, I mean, let me know how that goes. Live Nation wouldn't light their buildings red for us, so I'm pretty sure they're not going to promote an event for us. So chances are
they're gonna need to do something pretty soon.
Exactly.
Give everyone back their money, because holding on to people's money is pretty shitty.
Yeah, I mean, you know, let's talk
subject.
about that for a second. So, you know,
all live Nation venues did not go red. I know that's a double negative, but no, I had a few Live Nation venues that
but nationally they said we're not supporting this.
Right. But we had the result.
So again, for me, the two major disappointments were Live Nation and Las Vegas. You know, those to me were the two. And by Las Vegas, I don't mean that you guys didn't do an incredible job. I mean that you guys did an incredible job despite the fact that all the freaking casino bosses and managers and owners, you know, turned their back on us. And Patrick Dearson made the most amazing post with the red thing and then bagging on the casino. So it's, you know, shame on them.
Way to go, Patrick.
To not necessarily to defend it, but I think it's because I was asked to give a quote about this for PLSN.
Oh, for God's sake!
It was really bad timing, number one, and number two, we were pushing something that is very government related, that revolves around the color red, which is associated with a partisan issue, and all of that nonsense. So when you send this up a corporate chain of people that aren't attuned to this type of thing,
who are all getting paid every fucking week. I mean,
that's just a bunch
of nonsense. Gold, man. Like Trump, like gold.
Okay, whatever. I'll shut the fuck up.
No, you're right, Patrick. Patrick, you're right, but it's just it's sad because anybody can come with an excuse for anything. You know, if it had been blue or red, it doesn't. I mean,
totally.
People fucking need a job, man. People need to work.
Well, they made a lot of pink for breast cancer. We're not breast cancer, but they were willing to actually take a stand on something, but they weren't willing to take a stand with us.
Yeah.
Well, fuck them.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
Fuck them. That's what we said.
Yeah.
No, I you know, we did a great job despite all of that. But
great job, Patrick. Great job, Patrick. You killed it.
It's all disappointing. It's all disappointing to me that, you know, Las Vegas, again, who employs more entertainment people typically than Las Vegas? And
they don't care about
it. Just
problem, Marcel. They don't make money on the payment side, and it's just a shame what we went through. And Vicky, we're all on the call. You know, it was very much a shame for all of us to see that they weren't willing to support us. But in the long team out here, we did amazingly, and we'll continue to do whatever we can out here. It was very disappointing.
You know what, man? Anytime you have to beg to do something good is fucked up.
I mean, I will say another
lights
thing
on
that
trucks, and actually, we talked about putting lights on trucks and lighting up hotels that didn't want us to light them, and we decided that it would be inappropriate because we didn't want to give them the visibility of actually attempting to support us. So we actually ditched that effort.
How do you light up a gold hotel?
The Gold Hotel was not on, the Mirage was not on there, but the Excalibur.
No, I was talking about Trump.
Oh, no, we avoided that hotel at all costs. But the Tropicana is bright white. I mean, we had 2 trucks ready to stand by to go and essentially guerrilla warfare the hotels. And we decided that it was appropriate.
I mean, there is the other thing that happened that a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
Did anybody make any direct contact with Live Nation regarding their participation?
Randy Wade, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we did.
Who to?
Several people.
Steve Lawler?
Pretty high up the ladder, and it came right from, you know, not from Rapino, but from pretty high up the corporate ladder saying, I'm sorry, but we can't support this thing.
And that's the same with AEG too. Like, we had people in New York that were tied into the vice president of AEG, and some of them.
Yeah, and again, if individual facilities said, you know what, we'll help you out because I know Bob over there, and Bob's a good dude. But, you know, from a national standpoint, they decided not to support it. So whatever.
It's the same thing with Broadway League and all those other venues. Like, we got emails back saying, you know, the fact that our industry can't come to a consensus is scary enough, so we're going to join up. Like, there were venues that totally went against what the edict was. And it was nice. It was nice to see people stand up for a cause.
You know what's funny? I got an email today saying, you know, why are there so many coalitions in your industry? Like, why are there so many different voices? And I said, that's exactly what I said. That's
did you tell me we hate each other?
No, but it's exactly what I said that started this whole thing was, you know, we're a whole bunch of little voices. Like, you got this coalition over here and this group over here and this hashtag over here and this thing over here. Let's just kind of try and pull it all together as one and do one big thing. And that's what we did last week.
The B and Arts, I don't know if you guys followed this B and Arts Hero or whatever that came out on Labor Day, but they did another thing in Times Square like us, and they got no visibility. The only way I heard about it was scrolling through Facebook.
Is there another Times Square?
There was an event on Monday called B and Arts Hero, and it looked like it was more actors and musicians, and they had cardboard signs from boxes. They didn't even get poster board, and they wrote things on it. I mean, it just wasn't organized, you know, and I don't think they reached out to the city. Like, I mean, what we did in New York was great. We had the full support of the city.
Absolutely, man. No, you guys kicked it.
So, I mean, it's exactly what Marcel said. There are so many side factions. I think ours made the most noise because we had a visibility thing across the US, but we also had events, and we also made it live to the public via the live stream.
Right. We were together. What happened with Viva? You know, I know there was a falling out. Where did that land? I'm sure that they're like, holy fuck, we should have stuck with you guys.
It honestly, it felt, and correct me if I'm wrong, it felt like they supported a different bill, which became more and more obvious when they were on CNN supporting the Save Our Stages Act. And they actually straight up lied on the CNN interview saying that it has bipartisan support in Congress when Congress isn't even talking about that. It's dead. It's on the floor. But they were still pushing for this bill, which granted
billions of dollars to venues and venue owners, but they didn't have to use that money.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about
yeah,
it,
right.
John.
Marcel and Brad, can you guys speak to
No,
that?
we've talked about it a whole bunch already, and I think everyone who was a part of what we did understands my views on it. But you know, NEVA made a bit of a power move to try and quash us and silence us.
Agreed, and they tried to
because
change
we
the
were
date.
making a little bit of noise.
Right.
No. Well, they
they
tried to change the date for a purpose, you know, because
agreed.
that
Agreed.
date.
I didn't know what the
Yeah.
resolution was. So
Yeah.
The resolution after the fact has been essentially, you know, I had a conversation with Moose, who's one of the people on the leadership team of NEVA, and, you know, just talked about what they're doing going forward. But it's very smile and nod, handshake, kind of like we support you, you support us thing. But there's
Did
not
they
any
apologize?
actionable item at any point. There's any actual actionable items at this point. And I don't want it to be something either that from this or any other location where it gets out and it becomes something that
it's not a
you know,
scrum, but
yeah, no,
did they apologize for not being on board with us?
in a sense, yes, not in the way that you probably would be hoping for, but in a sense,
Not
Right,
really.
right. Well,
Not
right,
really.
but you
I think
know what I mean, Marcel and Brad.
individual members apologized to us, and I think that was more of a God. I wish we would have got involved because this
That was
really
such a
big
fucking
deal.
dick move, man. I mean, dude.
It was a big deal, and we should have got involved. That's not really an apology to me. An apology is like, hey, we tried to screw you and we kind of got caught.
Right. Well,
It
totally.
didn't work
Yeah.
out. So, yeah. So,
I mean,
anyways, whatever. No hard feelings. We kicked
right,
their ass.
but
You know, at the end of the
again-
day, it looked ugly for a day or two, but we kicked their ass. So,
yeah, you
it's all
bet.
good.
You bet.
Hey, Marcel, just out of curiosity, in listening to this, we've talked about creating a corporate structure, and I'm completely okay with the corporate structure, but what exactly are we trying to achieve with this? Are we trying to achieve a fund? Because we've already discussed here in Vegas about creating a 501c3 based around the WEEC event that we did a couple of weeks ago. But in the discussions that you've had so far and creating a corporate ladder, which is completely cool, what exactly is the end game of that? Is there a mission statement of some sort?
No, because it's an evolving mission statement. So the initial mission statement is basically that we want to put together a structure to continue what we've already done. And we can't do it quite as loosely as we are today. So we got away with being super loose for this first deal. And now we kind of need to pull together a little bit tighter, a little bit more organized. We need some management in place because some people, you know, like Sharon, our social media person, just pulling her hair out, Ellen pulling her hair out, me pulling my hair out, Brad, God forbid. So, you know, everyone on our team really was working so hard, working ridiculous hours and trying to keep their business afloat in my case. And so, so step one is just putting a structure in place that enables us to move forward. Secondly is really looking at, once you have that structure in place, having a meeting with those people and saying, what is our first goal? And, you know, the first goal is from my standpoint today, is whatever we need it to be. So it's not going to be Red Alert Restart because we've already done that. So what's the next thing that we need to do? Has government, by the time we have this structure in place in a week or two, has government done the things that we need them to do? If they haven't, then our target is still government. If our target is no longer government for this, then maybe our target is we need to do a show. We need to safely do a show because our industry needs this group of people to prove that we can do a show. And, you know, Live Nation has said we're sitting on the sidelines, we're doing this or whatever. AEG is doing this or whatever. We need to go out and do that. So it's really, it's to put a structure in place and then figure out what to do next. We're not going to do a 501c3 because it's too hard and it's complicated and it's expensive and all those things. And I don't know that we need to be a charity because we're going to raise funds through selling swag, through maybe promoting a show, through maybe something else. I don't know, but it's not like Gary said, we're not going to go to our people. We're not going to go inside our bubble. We're going to go outside our bubble and not necessarily look for, you know, gifts or donations. We're going to actually create profit somehow. And
we've had a lot of people ask
the idea.
we've had a lot of people here ask to buy our swag that we had done for our original event and things like that. But we're not exactly sure here how to, because we've got 5,500 people in our group, and we don't want to let them down. And we have a number of our people here that are, I mean, certainly we're the entertainment capital, and we have a lot of us out of work. So we've been talking about internally on how to turn this into something that is positive for the people in every individual city.
So David, one of the things we'll do, by the way, because I know that Matt's been working on it and kind of quashing little brush fires as he goes along here, but people have been kind of capitalizing on all of our hard work and going out and selling T-shirts that have We Make Events logos on them. And, we don't own the rights to that logo today, so they can go do that. The only thing we can do is go out to the industry and say, hey, these people are just profiteers. They're not actually benefiting the industry. We're going to benefit the industry, but today we don't have that in place. So once we have a company, once we have a company, if you'll give me one second. Once we have a company in place, so once we have a company in place, we'll set up a little e-commerce store where you can buy swag, you can buy merchandise, you can maybe buy a concert ticket, God forbid, or you can, whatever it is, I don't know what you're going to be able to buy, but we're going to find a way to generate some profit. And then as a team, as a committee, as a group, as a company, we will then decide what to do with those profits. And so, we'll pay whatever our expenses are, which doesn't include any salaries because nobody's going to get paid. But if we have to buy T-shirts, if we have to buy whatever it is, water bottles with our logo on it or something, we'll do that. But aside from that, the money will all go out to whatever good things we decide to send that money out to. So that's the general idea. Again, if anybody else has a better idea, shoot me an email. Let's talk about it. And all I'm trying to do is say, so here's a funny thing. Last week, I had this weird idea or vision in my head that September 2nd, this was all going to kind of go away and I was going to return to my normal life, right? And that didn't happen. In fact, messages picked up and emails picked up and everything got a little busier than it even was a week earlier. And I was like, what the hell have I done here? This isn't me. I didn't set up to be a life of some sort of a charity company or something. But the problem or the positive thing from all of this is we've generated so much noise and so much attention and just momentum. We have to keep that going. I mean, there's just no way we can stop this thing. So, all I want to do is put a structure in place that enables us to continue that forward. That's it.
Can we speak at all to the email from Michael Circlin today and what we all think about what's kind of going on about that? Because that was it was a disheartening email in my opinion, but I love the fact that he's putting it out to us. But what do you guys all think?
What is it? I think the first thing to say on it is that it wasn't intended to be disheartening, and that's part of the reason why he's communicating in the way that he is and involving himself and therefore the industry in the circles that he is. In that, in this first pass, yes, it's not what we were hoping for, but this first pass is very unlikely to be the last pass. So the next evolution of this is hopefully going to be a larger relief bill that does include Restart and PUA and FPUC. I don't know exactly what the timeline is of that, but hopefully by Friday or Monday, we should have more detail on what the movement on that is.
Can you summarize that for those of us who have not seen that email?
Sure. So the short version is that there is a bill that is on the Senate floor right now that does not include Restart, but it is, for all intents and purposes, already dead before it even got anywhere. So basically, any progress that's happened thus far in the Senate or the House towards a relief bill is not actually intended to move forward. It's more political posturing, and everything that is currently in the works is about getting to the big picture numbers to make it look like they were able to make a deal and negotiate accordingly. So Michael's theory is that they're going to land at about $1.75 trillion for the top line number, and both sides will have given in to compromise to get there, and that's going to make it look like they're progressing forward. And once they're able to do that, then they can then they can start structuring whatever that bill is once they agree on that top line number. So hopefully that can happen quickly.
I mean, the long and short of it is we all know this, that we're not going to see anything until October, even if it passes next week. I mean, we're going to be halfway through the month of September. So,
well, Michael had felt very strongly that the intent of congressional leadership was that they were going to drop a bill that is all agreed upon very close to the end of session. So like the 24th, I believe, was the date. It was just a few days beforehand so that nobody had time from the public standpoint to come back and get up in arms about what they put together. Sorry, my dog is scratching her face. So if that happens, then, theoretically, it could be on the president's desk by the end of the month, which means that by the time it gets enacted and then therefore funded and dispersed, that yes, you're probably looking at mid to late October for money to be available.
I mean, the major positive that I saw was that he felt that the extended PUA of $600 was going to be reinstated, which certainly for a lot of my friends is going to help them a lot. That was definitely the most positive that I took from that, unless I missed something.
No, it is. I mean, from my understanding from Michael, he's pretty confident that no matter what the bill is, it's going to include PUA and FPUC, hopefully at the full $600, and that we are still standing on a better than 50% odds that language from the Restart Act will be included, but that's not guaranteed yet.
But so the hashtag Red Alert Restart at this point in time, given the fact that he feels that it's DOA, is that something that we want to continue to push?
What's dead currently is a different bill that does not include Restart. So we absolutely need to continue to push it because whatever the next bill is going to be needs to include that.
Right, perfect.
Restart isn't dead from everything I understand anyways. So it's very much alive. Randy and others, so if you are not on Michael Strickland's email list, you can just shoot an email to mstrickland@banditlights.com and he'll add you to his list. I have posted his email in the chat. And I'm happy to forward it to anyone. I'll actually forward it to you right now, Randy, so that you have it.
Okay.
And
I copied a letter that Governor Newsom from California wrote, and I copied it and sent it to Governor Abbott here in Texas regarding getting involved and taking part in this. Now, our opinions about our governors, notwithstanding, really don't matter. It's the fact that Newsom is making an effort now to get this in front of the president. I copied it to Governor Abbott and received a response from one of his staff this morning that they had made sure that he read it and to expect something soon, whatever that means. So I think going after the governor level on this may get this onto Trump's desk in D.C. a lot easier than the congressional way, because let's face it, Trump and the Congress, we know how that is.
Yeah, I mean,
the governors carry a little more weight.
Chances are none of them are going to see anything that we're doing. Certainly Trump's not going to see the letters that we're sending, but the Congress people, the senators, the state representatives are seeing the letters that we're sending. So Randy, just so you know, on our site, which is wemakeevents.org, on our site, you can actually send letters directly from our site to state representatives and others. And it's been very effective. And people generally get responses back 99.9% of the time. They are form letters. They're relatively fake. But it doesn't matter.
I thought I sent that to you.
Sorry?
Is that the case?
One more time.
It's John Dixon here. I thought I sent you all the website stuff. Did you not get it?
Yeah. No, I've got it. I just haven't been able to go through it, John, and you know why.
Okay, yeah, all good, cool.
It's the general problem with going to governors is that they're fighting for their states right now. Like, not most of the states, they want state and local government funding, and they're trying not to ruffle any feathers. All they're trying to do is get the state and local government funding. So
hey,
going
folks,
to governors,
I have breaking news here. So I just got an email from Michael Strickland, and so it reads, the National Independent Venue Association, NIVA, announced a partnership with YouTube Music on Wednesday as part of the organization's continuing Save Our Stages initiative to benefit independent venues struggling during the coronavirus pandemic. According to a press release, YouTube and NIVA
I don't want to go on the spot. It's 105 degrees.
Mark, your mic's on.
Go ahead, Marcel.
According to a press release, YouTube and NIVA will work on unique programming that will help bring live performances back into music venues safely. YouTube also plans to help raise awareness and funding for the NIVA Emergency Relief Fund, designed to provide short-term relief for independent venues in conjunction with federal and local funding. With the entire independent venue and promoter industry on the verge of massive collapse, notice how they only say, by the way, we always included venues in all of our verbiage, and they're saying with the entire independent venue and promoter industry. They don't say lighting, sound, performer, artist, anything else. They just say independent venue and promoter industry. On the verge of massive collapse, we've been fighting urgently for the Save Our Stages Act, which will provide meaningful relief to our members and the independent music community. NIVA co-founder and treasurer Stephen Sternshine, also a managing partner of Austin's Heard Presents, said in a statement. So I'm going to skip down a little bit here. The partnership arrives as the live industry continues to pressure the government to provide financial relief for independent venues to weather months-long coronavirus-related closures. On September 1st, venues from nightclubs to stadiums lit themselves in red to indicate support for such relief measures. And onward. Anyways, it's interesting. I mean, they go out with their own press release, with their own mission, with their own, talking only about promoters and small venues. And then they promote the fact that on September 1st, we all went red. Yeah. It's funny. It is bullshit. I mean, sadly, NIVA is not our friend right now.
Just to release a press release telling NIVA to go fuck themselves.
Well, honestly,
you write it. You write it. We'll send it out from, your organization.
Or just write it and everybody sign it personally. And
I mean, we should not be shocked because the day they pulled out, they announced that they were going to do a relief fund, which was really funny that coming off of what we were doing.
No, Matt, they told everyone we were rescheduling. Remember?
Oh, yeah. I saw the emails.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Well, you guys have got to remember where the production industry lies in the hierarchy. We are a cost of doing business. We are not particularly an income generator like a promoter or a venue would be.
Shame on you, Randy Wade.
Well, now, I'm just calling it as it is.
Shame on you, Randy Wade. I'm going to have to mute you now.
Mute Hunter, too. Yeah, he can't find the button.
We need to go to Nils. We need to talk to Nils. Nils is positive energy. Nils is happy. Nils did a show last week. He told me he had drones in the air and doing fabulous things. What's
positive energy?
Yes.
What do you want to talk about? Drones or other?
Positive energy, Nils.
Whatever you got going on that's happy.
Okay, I'm embarrassed to say I'm doing gigs. I mean,
well, how nice for you.
I know. I feel like a schmuck. I mean, in this group.
But I feel ashamed. You should feel excited, and we are all excited for you.
Thank you. I mean, it's like we flew for the Philadelphia Eagles last night to help launch the season of the NFL. We did on September 1st. We were in St. Louis opening a hospital, and well, that's a whole nother story. We had our second system. We tried to fly in Nashville, but were unable to get permission to fly. So that went a bit.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, Nils was trying very hard to do Red Alert Restart with drones, you know, and just couldn't get it to happen in Nashville. So
we couldn't get local.
Tried very hard though.
I don't know why.
Why is anybody surprised that Nils is working? He's got the most socially distant employees known to man.
Well, you know, the funny thing is drone shows are actually really good for the current situation. I mean, there's no advantage to being in the front row, right? You can be 100 yards away. You still have a good experience. You can spread people out, right? But I do generally find that for most things, people are paranoid, right? They don't want to gather. So we did something for a radio station in Philadelphia, and they just announced like the moment before the show. They couldn't pre-announce, but the city was okay if it was a surprise. And then on the radio station, they said, look out your window or come down now, that kind of thing, right? So that's—
You got a drone that can lift Lizzo up? Then we got a show.
Nice one.
One day. But the one thing I'd mentioned to Marcel, I had this kind of interesting tidbit. If you guys want something completely different, here's a new situation that I have encountered in this line of work. And that is a full-on con artist who is competing against me. There is this dude who has set up a website, and he's grabbed videos from us and from Intel and other people, and then he puts up a price list, and they're really aggressive prices, but you know, believable. And people send him money, and then it's show day and he doesn't show up. And this like happens over and over and over again. I get like 3 or 4 inquiries a month from people who've either been screwed by him or are about to. You know,
anybody we know?
No, his name's Dave O'Neill, and supposedly he's now fled to the UK. The Secret Service is on him, and they monitor his bank account. And so now if you actually send him money, the money goes back, okay? But he's trying to get people to play in Bitcoin, right? So book a drone show in Bitcoin.
Is this like
wow. He has fleeced, like, I don't know, he has fleeced dozens of people, and it just goes on and on and on. And I've tried to get the press to write about him, but either the press is worried about legal liability, or they can't get anybody to talk because it's like with banks, right? Nobody wants to be, you know, wants it to be known that they've been scammed, right? They don't want that in the news. So
I'm sometimes envious of those people because they're just so damn crafty. Like, how do they figure this shit out? And they just go from one scam to the next scam to the next scam. And
this guy has scammed like a couple of people in LA. I got calls asking if I knew the guy, and I didn't, but he got 2 people. One of them got taken for 12 or 15 grand for a deposit.
Yeah, no, and bigger numbers than that as well. I mean, like, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, or clearly he's well into many hundreds of thousands of dollars he has scammed over like the last 2-3 years. And he has if you Google him, this is like, it's not his first rodeo. He's been scamming people his entire life, right? Now he's just moved on to drone shows and figured out, ooh, this is a lucrative niche, you know? It's extraordinary. I've been in entertainment for 25 years in this industry, right? And this is the first time I've seen anything this extreme. It's quite extraordinary.
Crazy. You'd think he'd find something more profitable than drone shows, though.
You'd think somebody would send a representative to talk to him.
Oh.
Say there's
you want a gig, Patrick?
For that specific reason.
Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, how much you want? I'll fucking hunt.
Patrick Dearson, bounty hunter and designer.
Ain't the first time.
Yeah.
With the gold gun, Patrick. Definitely with the gold weapon.
All right.
He has a full arsenal ready to go.
Why do you always have a gun like right within reach?
You don't?
What's the point of a
It's
gun?
Vegas, man. It's the Wild Wild West.
I have a glass of wine. I have a bottle of water. I don't have a gun. I just don't have one in reach.
To get to Patrick's apartment, then you know that Patrick does not need to have a weapon next to him at any time.
A grenade vodka that Andrew got me?
I feel like you have a wall that opens up and it's like a full arsenal of shit.
In all seriousness, there are pictures on Instagram of that. I think
it used to be in his bathroom.
My wife.
Patrick, come on, take us for a tour.
He moved the wife out of her walk-in closet and took it over. Tell the truth.
She made it for me.
Who do you think that was the production?
Your
guy
wife made you a gun closet?
Yeah, it's called the Pew Pew Closet.
That's
It's
a good one.
wall. It's got everything on it, and then shelving for like the separation of like binary explosives and smoke grenades and ammo and like everything.
I mean, to be fair, half of it's hers, but
yeah.
Do you have a spear gun?
A spear gun? No, I'm not allowed to have a spear gun per Rod McLaughlin, but I do have a flamethrower.
Hey, did
Totally
you get the
safe.
flame?
Who doesn't?
One of the Elon Musk ones.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Patrick, you crazy, man.
Well, I'm kind of curious. Cosmo seems like he's on site of something like really cool.
He's at World Trade
Cosmo
Center.
should be at 9/11, right?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Cosmo, where you at?
He's
I'm
on
at
vacation.
9/11.
There you go. Good man.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Cosmo, by
when
the
does it light up, Cosmo?
What's that?
When does it light up?
Well, we're testing it again tomorrow night, but it lights up on the 11th in the afternoon,
Right.
and it'll be on all night until the next morning when the sun comes
Okay,
up.
so it's only one night this year. In past years, it's been more, but maybe it's just testing that I usually see.
Well, it's just testing and focus. Like we focused last Thursday. We fired up the first time Wednesday night. Thursday night and Friday night we're focusing, and then we're firing it up tomorrow night for the final check, and then boom, we go on Friday afternoon.
Cool.
Good on you, man.
Thanks for
Cosmo,
doing
it
this.
was a bust
The
finding
pictures
those
have been
lamps at
amazing.
that last source. Just heads up.
What's that?
It was a bust trying to find those lamps out on Long Island. Unfortunately, they didn't have any more.
It's all right. I just was just looking for them. You know, we've got a few left. We've done some modifications on 20 of the units now, so we have a few spares, but still looking. I think we might have found some in France, but I appreciate you.
Yeah, they're really, really tough. Now, for everybody else, I don't know if you can appreciate the danger that they are in doing this. These lamps are highly volatile, so you have to usually wear gauntlets and preferably some chest and eye protection, because when they do explode, they go off like a goddamn grenade.
Well, it's funny because the Italian guy Massimo, who puts the bulbs. I mean, I put some of the bulbs in, but I wear the protective stuff. He doesn't wear anything, and he's actually missing the tip of his ring finger from one blowing up in his hands.
Are they old Martin scanners?
Never trust a shop teacher with 10 fingers.
I had one literally just from the charge left in it. I had one blow a chunk out of a Gerber one time, trying to loosen the bolt. It was pretty amazing.
Cosmo, was there any discussion about changing out the synchro lights to a newer unit that actually could do it easier, as opposed to having to deal with the danger that you're dealing with?
Well, I mean, they're not synchro lights. These are space cannons, and they were modified. They don't have a pan and tilt to color anymore. They just have 4 legs, and they have a 7,000 watt bulb, and they only get used, basically for 2 weeks a year. So they're in really, really good shape. It's just a matter of the original space cannon bulbs are a little bit difficult to find, and then they're expensive. And Osram made a donation of about 45 bulbs several years ago, so they're making modifications. But we prefer the space cannon bulbs.
So anyone on this call, who owns the Synchrolights now? Where the hell did they go? Because I miss them.
I can't remember the company.
I hate to say that, but I do.
They're there's a bunch on the East Coast. There's
And
like
ECC Entertainment in Anaheim have a vast amount of them.
I have 2 track spots.
Thanks, Warner.
Jesus Christ.
More importantly, for anybody on the call, if anybody
and I have one AF 1000.
If anybody knows
There
any
you go.
for the space cannon lamps, please let Cosmo know.
I was gonna say, I think I still have 2 in my shop.
I think Madame Tussauds on 42nd Street has a couple hiding somewhere.
I was gonna say, Madame Tussauds had a couple, but I think I still have 2 from originally when we installed those.
Gumper, did you install those?
I did.
The ones that are in the elevator, that were in the elevator shaft?
Yep.
They struck those like immediately and just stored them backstage.
I know. They were sitting in my shop for a while. And then, that was a fun one.
I think
So you're telling
you can hunt down. Cosmo needs them.
So you're telling me that Lori from All Bulbs doesn't have any?
No.
No.
Nothing but bulbs.
If you send her Bitcoins, though, she'll probably find them.
Right.
They're also a bit of a charity, so they're looking for donated lamps. They're not looking for $1,500 lamps. So
What group actually puts that on, Cosmo?
It's the 9/11 Memorial Foundation that does it. Oh, and you're gonna laugh. We actually found bulbs on Walmart.com. I don't know.
Boom.
But they're like $1,000 a piece. They're not cheap, so that's an issue, you know.
When we did the groundbreaking here for the Raider Stadium, we did 58 of the synchros. We had a mix of 7K synchros and the 6K synchros, and it was one company that provided. And when we were going to do the ribbon cutting, we wanted to echo that idea. We wound up looking at Stelos to echo the idea. So that's the only reason that I asked about the difference in fixtures, about upgrading, so to speak.
Does
Michael good to know, David. We gotta do a sidebar because I've been looking for 7Ks all day long. You know, for this red alert thing, and I couldn't figure out where to find them. So
I know BC. I think it's BCT Entertainment in Anaheim. Chad Brook and a couple good guys, but they bought the bulk of the Synchro stuff off of auction. So they're in Anaheim.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, I think they've got like 70 or 80 of them.
As much as I love to hate them, man, they're a fucking piece of work.
John, by the way, that laser Pink Floyd thing you did was kind of cool. You sent me the video, and I was like, wow, that's awesome.
That's the end of my charity work.
I have a friend in Canada who is he's a guitarist / singer in a Pink Floyd tribute up in Canada that's quite popular. And I sent him that, and he's like, it's nothing. It's nothing. But
wait for it.
The lasers.
We had like 6 cameras, and they're just digesting the stuff down and put something out.
No, it was cool. It was very cool. I thought the laser show was amazing.
And when I was on the road talking to him as he was driving to Missouri, I said, "You got that fucking laser in the back of your car, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "And you've got 120 AC things in there, right? You got ratchet straps? Why the fuck aren't you strapping that laser to the top of your fucking and drive and just see how long that lasts?"
Yeah.
You don't need a license for that, do you?
Well, some people maybe.
They'll never take you alive.
John, put that in the chat. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I definitely will do.
Anyone have anything before we ditch here?
I may need to get trained from like a production management technical direction standpoint on COVID for reopening. You know, something a little more than I can read in the Event Safety Alliance. And I was Googling and reading all the usual resources. I'm just looking for the #1 best place to get my updated training so that I can speak about HVAC and layout.
I got stuff for you, Deanna.
Okay.
Well, right now it's Event Safety Alliance, and I have been talking to one of the major distributors out there who is building sort of a safety supply warehouse for our industry for exactly what you're talking about, which actually sounds very cool. I've been consulting with them for the last couple of months. And, but yeah, I mean, other than that, we're all kind of learning as we go, right?
Well, if anybody wants to, I know that some people have got to run, but if anybody, I'll put my email in the chat in case anybody wants to send me what they recommend is their #1 resource.
Well, please do, and I've done the COVID compliance training, you know, for CT as has Chris Asen, but I have other means as well. So
sounds good, yeah, because I'm not looking to deal with you know, like letting attendees in. I'm just dealing with like layout and spatial relations and all the TD type stuff. So that'll be great. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, you bet.
Amazing. Anyone else?
So Marcel, we have a brainstorming session that's going to go on tomorrow here in Vegas about how we move forward. We'll wait on your guys' directives and how this goes. But just wanted to let you know that Vegas is on board and that we're ready to activate whenever you guys need us to.
Is that
Marcel's third company?
No, it's really not. It's all of you guys. I mean, honestly, and that's not just bullshit. I'm not just throwing that out there because number one, I don't have time to do this all by myself. Number two, I didn't start it all by myself. It was all of our idea on a Zoom call, and then a number of Zoom calls after that. So,
can I ask a quick question?
It takes a hell of a lot more than me.
Have we heard anything from ESTA, or are they still crickets?
I haven't heard a word from ESTA. I got a call from someone who I don't think is on the call right now, so I won't call him out. But I got a call from somebody today who said, why don't we just do this with ESTA? And I said, I haven't heard from him. Have you? And he said, no, but they'd be a great partner. And I said, I haven't heard from him. Have you? So, they'd be an obvious choice, Eric, but I haven't heard from anybody there.
ESTA's had a changeover in management as well recently during COVID. Like Meredith, who runs the ETCP program, she's gone. And I think the director of ESTA took over for her just because they didn't want to hire somebody else currently.
No, there's a new guy there, Dan Ayers.
Oh, okay. Somebody else came in finally?
Yeah. Erin has replaced Lori Rubenstein as the general director, and Lori's just running behind the scenes. And then this guy, Dan Ayers, has taken over for Meredith for this ETCP.
Yeah, because
I mean, Lori retired last year. I mean, she's been gone for a bit.
But. Yeah, but she's doing behind the scenes. She's still there. Yeah. I'm sure she still helps Erin a lot because, she's got 30 years of history there. So.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, I just kind of thought of something. Given the fact that LDI has been canceled, is there anything that we're talking about doing online for LDI during that time?
We started yesterday, actually. We did our first live design virtual master classes. We had 3 sessions on lighting, one on GDTF from Vectorworks. A guy called Matt Giese did a great technical update on that. Then the second one was on LED color mixing with Kevin Lawson from UVLD and Greg Cohen. And the third one was on immersive lighting with Al Crawford and his team from Pips Island, which was a great immersive kids thing in New York, which closed unfortunately because of COVID, but was really beautifully lit. It was sponsored by ETC, and there were 600 people signed up, and about 300 of them were on live yesterday for 2.5 hours, which was really amazing. And the rest will probably watch it, and it's free online. Anybody can go to our website and just line up and take a look.
So nothing fun then?
It was great fun. Oh, it was great. We had a great time.
I mean, the GDTF, not so much. That's all nerdy, ones and zeros.
Yeah, but we have nerds. We have a lot of nerds.
Those all sounded pretty nerdy to me. I got to be honest.
Well, we have our training.
Please don't, Marcel.
No. The training's amazing.
Don't sugarcoat it,
David, were you talking about that educational stuff or more like networking? Because I know that I've had a lot of people talk to me about what's going on from a networking standpoint with all these trade shows, and nobody's come up with anything interesting.
I think
yet.
I nominate you to host Happy Hour at the Hard Rock.
No, I'm good. I think that should be your game.
I think Herrick is the one who needs to host the Happy Hour at the Hard Rock, given the fact that is his home base.
And no more Hard Rock.
Well, let's co-host it, and yeah, there is a Hard Rock, but it's.
I would argue that it was my. I would argue that it was my headquarters before it was ever Herrick's. So,
and we're all staying at Marcel's house.
I don't live in Las Vegas, Rubberneck.
Yeah.
You don't live next to Vanilla Ice?
No, but I don't live in Las Vegas. We're talking about Las Vegas, LDI.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was distracted by John.
Can we just talk about how Dave was like, I'm ready to activate Marcel whenever you are. Just give me the word. It's like, it's like a military action.
I know, it's good. It's good work, man.
Course, Patrick's on the call, so I'm the least military of all of us.
You got that V for Vendetta thing ready to go.
We will meet in Craig Caserta's treehouse. It will be top secret.
Yeah, we could do that. I know the address. We started something a little bit before we got on board with you guys. So we had a set of following of a lot of people that are on us. They're like literally on our Facebook page every day, going, "What can we do? What can we do?" So
do I, David. So tell me when you figure out what to do with that group, because I've got the same thing right now. So
yeah, I mean,
David,
Right,
I want to
that-
be COO.
Well, no, but it's a, you know, we're not trying to make money off this, but I have friends that can't afford food. And
All right, I'm
it's-
out.
You know, we're trying to figure out how to move forward.
Damn. Yeah.
Listen, Dave, I cook food for people that can either pay their rent or eat peanut butter and jelly. So it's all what I can.
And
do
that's just his
immediately.
children.
It's just my children. I don't have.
Try grilling
That's
the
just
peanut
his
butter and
children.
jelly, Matt.
Hey, only the
try
children
grill.
he knows about.
I mean, I've actually given my EBT card because we get food stamps. We're lucky enough to not be making enough money. I've actually given my EBT card to friends of mine so that they can buy food because, you know, we're lucky enough to be in a good situation, but I have a lot of people that aren't. So that's why I'm
Yeah,
pushing
yeah.
how we move forward and how, you know, how we help the people that are not in this situation. So to
Can
speak.
you do a GoFundMe? Can you do a GoFundMe page?
The problem is nobody has money.
Yeah, that's
problem.
the issue, Ellen. GoFundMe
No, but wait a
pages,
minute,
we all
somebody-
have the same followers.
No, but wait a minute. Somebody I know, Casey Wilkerson from Disney, who's posted something the other day about a friend who's really ill, and they had a $100,000 goal on their GoFundMe page, and they've raised over $75,000 already. It doesn't have to be people from this industry. People reach out to friends and stuff.
Yeah, but that person's not in this industry, right?
My understanding of a GoFundMe page is that it's not tax deductible. That's actually the lawyer that I spoke to earlier today said that you don't want to go with a GoFundMe page because if you have a corporation that wants to give you money, they cannot deduct that from their taxes. So that's part of the route that we're trying to go to figure out how to make it. If we have to create
Yeah,
a
the problem is you're going to spend $100,000 to save 20. You know, that's the problem that happens. 501c3s are great, but they
Right.
take a long time and they're very expensive and they're very complicated. So if you're looking to raise millions of dollars, yes, it might be worth doing. If you're looking to raise a couple $100,000, it's not worth doing. Just do GoFundMe. And you know, corporations are giving $1,000. It doesn't matter to that corporation whether or not they're saving taxes on that $1,000.
Well, I'm starting a Red Alert Restart landscaping
We
business.
have hundreds of thousands of people out of work. $75,000 to $100,000 isn't going to do anything.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And we're talking about if you're going to help this industry.
Marcel, did you catch my
or the
drift?
Congress to pass the
right.
billions of dollars of help, because a GoFundMe isn't going to help anybody in this industry other than one person collecting $75,000 with his life changing.
And they're going to have the best looking lawn ever.
$75,000 for this industry is a drop in the bucket. That's a loss and damage
Yeah.
bill on the
No, you're right.
I just meant for Dave to feed people in Vegas. You know, like if the Vegas, you know, we make events did a, you know, a little.
Well,
something.
I mean, the way to feed people in Vegas is to go to these asshole freaking casino people
And say, "What the fuck?"
you know, give me $10,000 or have a barbecue out back for all of our people.
Whatever you do,
know,
don't light
whatever
your
it is.
fucking building red because that's a fucking
Yeah.
big, difficult
No, but
thing.
open your buffet for 2 hours for our people or whatever it is. I don't know what the
That's
answer is, but
exactly right. Because look at how much money those casinos made from all those Cirque shows and all
no
those
shit,
places.
no shit. Yeah,
Fucking
no shit.
douchebags, man.
Hey, guys,
Jeez, calm down, John.
The NBA has you know, a lot of the players have said, hey, look, we recognize that all these people that work these stadiums and these arenas are not getting fucking paid. And we're still getting paid our fucking money. So they have said, you know what, you know, a lot of good guys have said, we're going to donate a lot of our salary to the people that are supposed to be working these venues that are no longer operating. So, I mean, it seems to make sense to me that we could say, or that we could, hopefully we can get enough recording artists who aren't doing so fucking bad, you know, that got plenty of money.
but we're talking in scale though, Hunter. We're talking
Like
about
Bubbles.
no, but NBA guys are making $30 million a year and their salaries haven't been impacted. We're talking about recording artists who, for the most part, were making $1 million a year. Now they're making nothing. And it's a very, very different scale. Anyways, guys, we've gone down a complete rabbit hole and I'm
No, but
starving
it's
to death because I
interesting.
didn't even eat lunch today.
No, but it's
So-
interesting. I think like if everybody on this call even sent $50 to Dave and said, okay, feed somebody in Vegas tonight, you know, I would do it. wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's great.
But
I need to
no,
feed
but-
myself.
No,
Yeah.
This wasn't an advocation for the city. I mean, look, we all have friends that are going through this. I've done, we've done as best we can to help the people that we can. But I just, we may move towards something here in Vegas where we try and create a fund. And I'm
But
just
Dave
wondering-
and everyone, our goal has always been to get out of our bubble.
You bet.
And I can't ask Marcia and Matt and John Dixon and Bobby Schneider and Nancy and Dave O'Kuhn. I can't ask this group of people for money because you guys are all in the same position that me and everyone else in our industry is in. We all suck right now. So what we need to do is go to these corporate giants and find a way to get them to support our industry. And that's what we did last week. We did it very, very well. So our next goal is to find another way to do that. And we're not going to do it the exact same way.
Marcel, the cool thing is, when I got on this call, is Mayor Turner of Houston did another press conference deliberately focusing on the live events industry. So not only did we get him to talk on the day of and ran the video, but he's actually running with the ball. And that is, I think, the greatest news I've heard. And like that was like the best gift ever. It's like, it's working, man.
But that's really cool. But that's a mayor who has to report to the county health commissioner, who has to report to the governor, who has Mayor Virgosa.
Yeah, show me something.
Mayor Virgosa.
Gosh, I could piss all over
Second largest city in the country. Our mayor's like, yeah, I'm 100% behind you. Don't ask me to spend a fucking penny. Don't ask me to do anything. But hey, by all means, I'm behind you.
Yeah.
Mayors aren't going to get it done.
Well, obviously, we need to stay on the national level and actually continue to push this to our congressmen and senators as long as they actually still have their. We're going to try and move something here to our local people, and we're on board. So we're not activating.
Man, no, dude, you and Vicky and the whole Las Vegas team, you guys kicked ass. It just sucks that all your casino owners suck nuts. So,
well, there's actually a discussion that I can have a conversation with a local journalist that may possibly, I don't know, may call some casinos out, and we'll see if that actually does anything. But that's still.
Well, I did on my blog. I called out casino owners because the thing is, I'm pissed off at them. I'm pissed off at them, and I'm pissed off at Live Nation. I'm pissed off at Neva because the thing is, are we in this together? Or are we not in this together? If we're not in this together, then guess what? You're an asshole.
But we're not on that level, Marcel.
Hey, settle down, Marcel.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
Whether or not we provide some local persistence to the casinos, the only 2 casinos that actually supported us, and say that they were great, but the other 16 casinos around town decided not to, that would be an interesting article. But we also
that's true.
The governor.
So, I don't think we want to shame anyone, but maybe a little.
I would. I very much want to shame them, to be completely. But
yeah, I'm shaming. Folks, I have to go. Does anyone have?
Love you guys, man. Thank you.
We leave.
Thanks, Marcel.
Any last thoughts? Anyone?
You're the best leader ever.
I am not. John, you are, and I'm muting you now.
Let's all set
anything?
up. Let's set up a GoFundMe for Marcel.
All right, GoFundMe Marcel.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I could use one, but it's got to be. No, it's got to be. Is there such a thing on GoFundMe that's like a minimum donation of $1,000? Because it needs to be a minimum donation of $1,000, and we need many of those. All right, and I promise, when I become Google, I'll share it all with you guys. Is that all right?
Luke, I think is what it should be. Right?
And I'll color my building red every day for the rest of my life.
And you'll do 3 drone shows.
Eric,
3 drone shows for everyone.
You know the guy from Tesla? He's got like $200 billion. Couldn't he? People like that.
Listen, the Tesla, he lost a lot of money. The Tesla stock is.
And he doesn't have cash.
He's doing just fine.
I read that his value went from 25 billion to 200 billion during the pandemic.
Yeah, he's done just fine.
His value, but that's not on hand.
He's launching rockets.
SpaceX has done well. Yeah, SpaceX has done very well.
Red Alert Restart Landscaping starting now.
There you go. I'm in with you, by the way.
Oh,
hey, Dan, by the way, I saw Steve Owen he started an outdoor lighting company, which
Exactly.
is kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, all right,
Hey,
folks.
Hey,
All
David,
right.
I'm ready to mobilize with you, buddy. We're here in New
I'll
York
see you
City,
next
ready
week.
to go.
Thanks, boss.
Hi, everybody. Have a good
Boys
week.
and girls.
Okay.
Thanks, folks.
I'll email you,
Love
Steve.
Have a good one.